Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from sortofinteresting.com and today you're joining me on board good old narrowboat Abel's Ark for a chat about something that I genuinely love and I've been having for about the last 2 years or so. And I should have reworded that sentence, but anyway, what we're talking about, and this may surprise some of my regular viewers, and that is Huel. And it's basically, the basic concept of this stuff, just for anyone who's unfamiliar, is that it's a complete meal that you can drink, basically. And originally, when I first got into this stuff, back in the start of 2017, I think it was, I was living back on dry land. I was between the boats that I've lived on. For anyone who's a new viewer watching this video wanting to hear about health food and stuff, this is the boat that I live on. Please subscribe and check out my boat life videos. Anyway, in all seriousness, as well, a note here for my regular viewers, I just want to make it absolutely clear, this is in no way, shape or form a sponsorship or a deal or anything like that. This is literally just something that I've genuinely enjoyed and liked over the last 2 years or so, and there's no communication or money or anything like that being exchanged between me and Huel. The extent of our communication may be that they've liked picture on Instagram or Twitter that I've put up in the past, but this is no way, shape or form a sponsorship. This is genuine stuff that I've bought with my own money. So just to get all that out of the way, let's get back on topic. The idea of Huel, when I first started it, was that it was only available in powdered form, and you would mix it with some water and then you'd have a drink that you could swig down, and in theory that would give you all of the vitamins and minerals and nutrition and stuff that you would need to be a healthy human. So the initial idea of it intrigued me, and the idea of maybe having it as like a few times a day or once a day and that, I thought, yeah, let's have a go with this. So I bought a couple of packs, and my initial thing was total shock because I thought as soon as I tasted it, oh, I've made a mistake here, I'm not going to be able to stomach this stuff. Within a couple of days, I'd not only got used to the flavour, but I actually quite liked the vanilla stuff. So that's how quick it can change. And for any new Huelers out there, please do stick with it if that taste really hits you like a brick wall when you first have some, because I really, really thought that it was all over when I had my first Huel. So then I tested out doing it for a week and having nothing but Huel for a week pretty much, apart from a few fizzy drinks to wash it down. And I found at the end of that week that I didn't have any of that sort of indigestion, sort of repeating sort of feeling that I sometimes get and have had in recent times. I also didn't have any issues with what I'll describe as digestion from into the mouth to out of the body. It didn't cause me any issues with any of that process. You know what I'm talking about there. You're drinking a lot of liquid stuff there. Anyway, moving swiftly on. But I did notice that my skin, and especially the skin on my face, was really soft, and there was like a notable improvement in my general complexion. And I'm someone who's always had bad skin, or for a long time had quite bad skin that gets sort of all eczema and bad skin around my eyes. And you might be able to see I've got just some very slight red patches around my mouth because of being out in the cold and stuff, cycling to and from the boat and going to work and that. So I ultimately, at the end of that week, I was impressed. And although I didn't have any intentions that I was only going to be drinking Huel for evermore, I thought, you know what, I like it, it seems to have a positive effect on me, and it's a way to get all sorts of random vitamins and minerals that I might not traditionally get in my terrible diet, which I don't have quite as bad a diet as I used to, but still. I'm single, I'm on my own, I'm tootling around on a boat, I'm doing all sorts of fun and games at all sorts of hours of the day. I've got no one to impress. I'm eating super noodles, I'm eating pot noodles, I'm eating other pasta things and dried goods like there's no tomorrow. It's just me. But in all seriousness though, that's part of the reason why the idea of having something like a drink of Huel instead of my breakfast, or instead of snacking throughout the day, having a Huel in the fridge or to the side so that I can just keep taking in a bit there. And instead of eating little chocolate bars or bits and pieces like that, I'm taking in actual decent things, hopefully. And like I say, vitamins and minerals that I wouldn't normally get. So it definitely helped me cut down on junk food, and definitely helped me cut down on some of the worst things and some of the huge amount of sugar that I was taking in my diet up until discovering Huel. And what I tended to do over the years that I lived in the flat where I first discovered Huel, not that I discovered it in the flat physically, but that's where I was living after moving off my first boat. New viewers, check out my old videos for my old boat life videos. Anyway, gotta get these plugs in here, my friends. Times are hard. Anyway, in all seriousness, though, the idea was that I'd just have it now and then, and I'd make a few up and keep a couple in the fridge, and then as and when I wanted them, if I wanted one first thing, if I was going to go out walking or cycling in the morning, then it's just there to grab and I'll have some. And if I came home from work, I'd have a little bit instead of maybe my tea, depending on how I felt and all that sort of stuff. And it really does work, and it does fit in, or at least for my personal experience, it's very handy to just have this stuff. Now, recently, and it's really recent that these bottled ready-made Huels are a thing, and as soon as I knew these were going to be a thing, I pre-ordered some, because I thought it's already very convenient and very quick to whip up some Huel. Pro tip here for anybody who's getting into Huel or thinking about it, just get a cheap blender, and you can blend it to a perfect consistency and have it, a couple of them, have maybe 4 bottles of it made in a matter of minutes. And it's just a good, honestly, using a blender to get the good consistency makes it far more palatable, in my experience, than having it when you're just shaking it in the shaker and you've got little bits and clumps and stuff as you're trying to drink it down. So that's my general tip for you there, my friends. So I don't know if that's useful or not. Use a blender to blend things. Anyway, moving swiftly on. So it's relatively swift and convenient and that, but honestly, since getting a few of these, they're almost too convenient. These ready-made ones are unbelievably convenient, because whereas the Huel that you make up from the powder is only meant to be stored, I believe, for about 24 hours after you've made it into a drink, these things, ready to go, literally, these ones, considering I've bought these at the start of January, these have got a date until July on them. So obviously that's a huge amount of time that it's just there, ready-made to go. And so I've got these everywhere I look at the minute, as you've probably seen in this video, the huge amount of stuff that I've bought after having my first couple of boxes delivered. I then went on and bought another 6 boxes, so that should tell you how much I think this stuff's good. Now, I'm not expecting or planning to just have loads of these and have 4 a day and nothing else, or 5 a day, or anything wild like that. I couldn't afford to for a start, but just having something like this as a ready-to-go thing to pick up first thing in the morning, last thing at night, just throughout the day. And you've got to remember here, for people who aren't familiar, I have to ride my bike down the canal as I'm moving around on my boat to get in and out of where I work. So obviously, sometimes I'm setting out really early in the morning, sometimes I'm getting back maybe midnight, maybe later. So the last thing I want to do then is start fiddling around with a blender, or sometimes even fiddling around boiling the kettle. I just want to get in, get me bike locked up, get me teeth cleaned, get into bed. And of course, coming in, having a load of these that have got months of shelf life just to the side. I can pick one up practically before I even know I'm back on the boat. I can have swigged one of these down, be cleaning my teeth, and then be in bed. So these, I think it's the shelf life that makes them very convenient. And again, I'll just double check. Yeah, best before 9th of June 2019. Would have looked well if that had said January on it. But in all seriousness though, you've probably already picked up, I like Huel stuff. And I honestly think that even though the bottles are more expensive to buy, obviously because it's a huge amount of weight to ship around, and it's, well, I mean, it's the downside is you're obviously creating a lot of plastic waste here, but I am recycling all these, don't worry. Some of them I'm keeping to reuse, but I've literally got a bag here with all of my recyclable plastics in, so I'm doing my bit, just so that you know out there. And honestly, I think you can get the price per meal if you buy the powdered stuff down to about £1.41 or something, £1.40 something in that sort of region per meal, if you're buying the maximum number of powdered bags to make up yourself. However, if you're buying these, I managed to get £10 discount off it and bought the maximum number I could on my second order of the ready-made stuff, and it came to £2.22 per bottle. So obviously you're looking at about 80 pence or so more expensive per meal to have the bottled ones than you are for the powder. But these, I do feel, they're almost too convenient. As, for example, when I've been sat down eating me super noodles and stuff, and I've finished off eating or had me beans on toast with a load of cheese scraped over the top of it, because I've got these just all over the place and they're just ready to go, literally it takes, what does it take? 1 full second to twist the cap off and start drinking it maybe. So that's led me to sometimes have maybe had a few throughout the day and then being like, right, I'll have normal food to eat. Normal food, super noodles, yeah, classic. And then, obviously, I'm going around, sat at my desk, doing a bit of writing, editing videos, and I'll just be like, oh, I'll just pick up a Huel and start drinking it. Then I get 2/3 of the way down the bottle. I'm like, hang on a minute, I'm actually having even more calories and more food than I normally would. Now, I'm not one who's interested in losing weight or anything like that. I just like this for the extra vitamins and stuff that I don't necessarily get in my as I say, questionable diet or dietary habits. So again, I just really wanted to talk about Huel. I don't know if this has been useful or interesting or totally random and irrelevant to a lot of you. Maybe you've enjoyed it and it's given you something to think about. Maybe you've looked at me and thought, what on earth is this fool talking about? What's that on his face? It's a birthmark. And so on. Anyway, my friends, before we get any further into this strange video, I'm just going to wrap it up and say thank you so much for tuning in. Please do subscribe and check out my other videos for loads of boat life stuff. I'm currently also in the middle of an experiment where I am waking up at 5:30 AM every morning just for a laugh to see what it's like to wake up and start doing useful, productive things at that time of morning. So I'm a little bit tired now. Oh. Anyway, please do check my other videos and subscribe. Please do consider checking out my short books about boat life, available for the Kindle and as a paperback. And if you're really curious, please do check out my Patreon, which is supporting all these videos and stuff. But in return, I've made the book that I've worked on throughout 2018 completely free, and I'm actually recording it as a monthly audiobook episode as well. That's available completely free, whether you support me on Patreon or not. That's totally optional. I don't hide anything behind a paywall or anything of that nature. And of course, please feel free to add me on Facebook, on my personal account, on the Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest. Is there something else I'm thinking about? I'm probably missing something. But anyway, until the next time, my friends, have an absolutely fantastic day. Keep it interesting, keep it boat-worthy, keep it eat complete. And of course, my friends, farewell.